I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, what's happening, everybody?
Sam Healey, what's up, y'all?
Today we're here to talk about rating games. Now, there are many different ways to rate games. The simplest version is basically to say thumbs up or thumbs down. We have taken that and
Completely
really messed it over in our Miami Dice thing.
Yes.
Then I would say probably most people rate on many things on the internet and other places are rated on a 5-star scale. 5 is the best, 0 is the worst. Then sometimes they go to half stars, which essentially is a 10-point scale.
Right. Mm-hmm.
For board gaming, most of the rating, when we talk about rating, is done at Board Game Geek.
Right.
Because that's where pretty much everybody rates games.
Sure.
At Board Game Geek, they have a scale from 1 to 10. If you want to see people argue, you can always go and post a thread and say, how should you rate games? And there will be people who will yell, like, should a game get a 10? Should a game get a 1?
Right.
I guess I'm going to start out by saying that for me, when I rate games, I use the 10-point scale because I like the flexibility of it. I don't begrudge people a 5-star scale. I just like having 10 to 1. And as a teacher, that whole wide range of grades kind of appeals to me.
Sure. I use the same thing, except I do half steps as well. So that's not quite a 20-point scale, I think, or maybe it is. I don't know. I'd have to do the math. But it's, Tom would have to jump from a 7 up to an 8. I do a 7, 7.5.
No, I do that too. I do that also.
And an 8.
Yeah, that's a 20 points.
Yeah.
Because you're putting another point in between each one.
Yeah.
So, I quite honestly, I just follow what's on the Geek.
But you don't use half steps?
I do, only if I have to. Like if I'm really not sure that that I want it to be a 7, but I don't want it, or whatever the term is. I can't remember off the top
I
of
see.
my
You
head.
use the written description.
I do actually use the written descriptions, and then if I'm not quite there, but I'm also not here, I'll slap a 0.5 on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never really understood the people's slavish adherence to those descriptions. I met a lot of people who said they can't rank any game a 10 because a 10 says, I always want to play this game and never expect it to change. And then they're like, well, yes, but sometimes I want to go to this wedding and I don't want to play the game right at that point in time.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Okay. And then the 1 says clearly broken, and they'll say, well, the game isn't broken. You may hate it, but it's not broken, so you can't rate it a 1.
Right, whatever.
Well,
So for me, 10 means I love it the best, and 1 is I hate it the most, and everything else is in between.
I usually don't rate things below, I want to say a 4.
You've never given a game a 1?
No, I've never given a game a, not that I recall at least. I know I've given a game a 2.
What game is that? Is it Epic?
Yes.
Way to put him on the spot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I got lots of 1s.
Yeah, I mean, I usually just don't go below that because more often than not, if I'm reviewing a game and I'm giving it a rating, then it's probably a decent enough game, more often than not, to not warrant a 3, 2, or 1.
No way. There are so many bad games.
Oh, there are, yeah. I just don't review them. You do that.
Yeah, I might have 1s, but it would be a couple. For me, a horrid game is like a 3 already.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, so at what number will you play a game with no reservations?
7.
Yep.
7?
Yeah. Definitely a 7.
And definitely 7 for me is the most likely rating for a game. It's the one I have the most 7s.
Yeah, I will provide this caveat. If there's a 6, I might not. I'd be willing to play if everybody else wants to, but I'm not going to recommend it.
Right.
Whereas I will recommend a 7.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
See, I like 6s and I'll play them. I just like 7s more. I mean, it just kind of...
Well, obviously, but
6.
for me, a 6 is already like, I have issues with this game. You know?
Well, I don't know.
So 6 is not a positive thing from you?
It's fine. It's better than average, but it's a game that I already have problems with.
I was just about
It might
to
not
say that.
stop me from playing the game, but I already feel like, oh man, I wish they had done this instead, or oh, that didn't really work for me, or whatever. Whereas at a 7, the problems I have aren't as apparent to me. I just might enjoy that game less. But I don't sit there going, oh, I wish it would fix this.
Mm.
That's the difference.
How prone are you guys to giving out 10s?
I usually don't, actually.
I mean, do you have you given out 10s?
I'm
pretty sure Twilight Imperium 3 is
yeah.
10.
That would probably be a 10. I don't know if it actually is on Board Game Geek because I don't keep up with it on Board Game Geek. But
Yeah, but if someone asks you a rating of it, you
right.
say 10.
I would say for me it's definitely a 10. It won't be a 10 for everybody else, but for me it is. But with that in mind, knowing that 10 is reserved for that game that's kind of perfect for me, I'm usually more reserved on giving that same level of quality, I guess you could say, to another game, because I'll always say, I'll put the two up against each other. Would I rather play this or rather play this? And if the answer is, well, I don't really care, I'll play either of them, then of course, okay, they'll share that same rating. But if I'm like, I'd rather play this over this, but I still really, 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 really enjoy this game, it can't get the 10 because this game has the 10 and I'd rather play that.
I guess. See, I don't think of a 10 as like a point in a line. It's an area. Things can live in there, and even if I say, okay, I want to play this now, I don't want to play this one, they coexist at that 10 rating. I'm not as terrified of it as some people are.
Right.
Some people are like, giving a 10? That's too crazy. That means the game's perfect.
Yeah.
No, that means it's
Right.
as good as a game as it could be for me. That
Right.
doesn't mean the game is going to rock me to bed at night. It's a game, but it's really, really good.
Oh, I'm pandemic.
Oh. So
That kind of went creepy, didn't
Things
it?
just got a little awkward.
so I don't. It doesn't bother me. I've given, I don't know, 10 or 15 10s.
I don't think I've done that many.
I usually try to keep it to my top 10 games just because, but I have a lot of 9.5s, which rounds up to a 10 anyway.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
So the majority of the games that I play tend to skew high because I tend to play games I like. It's gone lower since we've been reviewing games.
And you tend to like games also.
Right. And well, if I didn't like games, this would be a horrible job.
Right.
But when can you rate a game? Now, this is very different than when can you review a game. All right. Whenever someone says how many times you play a game before you review it, I say enough. But for how many times I play a game before I rate it, 5 minutes. Now, my rating might change as time goes by. But after my first play, I almost always have some sort of rating of a game. It might change as time goes by, and that's fine. My ratings always change.
I guess it depends on what people mean by when do you rate a game. Like, when do you rate a game on Board Game Geek? When I'm done playing it. For Sam, it's possibly never, right? But when do you judge a game? And when do you judge a game is immediately. And then you continue to judge it and adjust that, right?
Upon playing it, hopefully.
No, upon seeing it, I'm judging
I'm pretty
that
sure
game.
we judge them all just by looking at them. We do
Right.
that every day. A game shows up.
I'm
we're
not
like,
rating it. I'm judging it. I look at a
guess.
game. It's got a horrible looking cover. I go, ugh, that's an ugly looking game. I'm judging it.
Yeah, but that's stepping away from the core of what we're talking about here.
Right.
We're not
True,
talking
true.
about judging it
But when do you rate it?
after you've played it.
After I've played it once?
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't get around to it and it's after I've played it more than once.
Well, no, at least
When do
once.
I feel comfortable rating it? After I've played it one time, I'm ready to rate a game.
Well, there's yahoos out there that think they can rate a game without playing it, though.
That's true.
and you think that's a bad idea, I would
That's
assume.
clearly a bad idea. Yes,
a horrible
because
idea.
not only that, because that affects data, which is the only reason I would say it matters, right? Because
Yeah,
if you do it on your
skews.
own website, I don't care.
Yeah, it invalidates the data that the board game site uses.
Right. If you have your own website and you look at a game and you go, I hate you game, even though I've never played you, I'm going to rate you a 1 on my own website, then I could care less, right?
Right.
But you're doing it and it's affecting information. It's affecting data that on a website that a lot of us do use as a resource. And that's when I have a problem with that. Or people that see that, someone, giving a game a 1 and then jump in there and go, that person's wrong, whether they played it or not. I'm going to rate this a 10, also having not played it, to balance the ones. And it's just this futile sort of bickering that I don't know why it happens, but it happens.
It doesn't help anybody.
It does not.
Right. And I think that you should rate games after you play them, and trying to be a rating justice warrior,
that's
isn't
fine.
going to help anybody. Now, last question then, in regards to rating games, is when you rate games, should you be trying to rate them solely based on your personal preference, or should you rate it based on the objective quality of the game? Like, let's say, for example, I don't like Go. I don't like Go, but I recognize that Go is a great game. So should I be like, Go gets a 7, but I don't like it?
I find I find myself doing that all the time.
Insanity.
It's not insanity.
Why would
I mean, you have a personal rating for yourself, and it ranks somewhere, but you can see how other people might like it better than you or less than you.
That's insane. That's like me buying Casablanca because other people like it. What?
No.
You realize-
rating.
Okay, fine. That's like
People
me
do
saying-
that all the time. You realize how many people come up to us at every single convention and say, I bought such and such a game based solely upon your rating
because
of it.
they're hoping
Usually
to
the
like
review,
it.
not the rating.
Well, right. The
Because
review,
they're
right.
hoping to like it.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm saying I'll play a game, I hate it, but the game is highly rated on BGG, so people must like it, so I'm going to give it a slightly higher grade than I would?
No,
But that's what I'm asking.
You're misunderstanding what I said.
Okay, what did you say?
I will give 2 ratings. I will say, for example, I did this with Sons of Anarchy. I said, for me, it's like a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
But I can see where other people will have this at a 7 or even higher.
And you input that rating?
Oh, no, I don't put it into the geek. I just say it.
So what rating do you give
okay.
the game? Yours or the one?
Mine.
Okay. That's what I was asking.
Okay.
The only time I will do split ratings like what Sam just mentioned is sometimes I'll say with kids. I'll be like, oh, for adults, this is like a 4.
No, I mean, I
But
would
with kids, it's
mention-
amazing.
If I'm doing a review of a game, I'll mention who I think it's for, even if I dislike the game.
Yeah.
But I clearly will rate the game whatever I think. You know,
You think a
like-
rating that you put on, let's just keep using Board Game Geek. The rating I put on Board Game Geek is the rating that is for me.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Some people think
because-
that you should be objective or include this or that.
No, that's
Just
the,
like, I mean,
that's the whole point of the whole rating system on the
and some
game.
people like to rate games. I think the interesting, flip side of that is that some people want to rate a game in a bubble. It's like this game as though no other games existed.
No, I don't think you
That's-
can do that.
And
You
it's
have to.
just not possible.
How can you? That's
That people
impossible.
want to try to do that. It's like, oh, this is, this game, if nothing else existed, this would be a great bidding game, whatever. Yeah, but there is Raw, and there is this other game, and so this game is lesser simply from the fact that these other games exist. To a certain point, that has to hold true. And if I've played that other game, I might think less of this one, whereas you've only played this one game in your whole life, it might be amazing. It might be the best game ever.
Right.
Which is why at one point in my life, I rated Boomo a 10. Maybe not a 10, but it was really high. It was like a 7, and that
like
game
Boomo.
was garbage. That
It's
game
not garbage.
That game now is a 2,
It's a
I
6.
think. I'm pretty sure now I rated a 2.
6.
Wasn't that horrible?
No, it's horrific. It's one of the worst.
So you said at one point in your life you were really just not good at grading games.
No, I knew less. That's normal,
Oh, okay.
right? I mean,
When I was a young gamer, I played as a young gamer. All right. What do you guys think about rating games? How should you rate games? What scale do you use? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Do you hate the 10-point scale? A lot of people do. Tell us in the comments. Until next time, I'm Vasel.
Zee Garcia, thanks everybody.
Sam Healey. See you on the flip side, y'all.
Rate him a 3.